I'm so sorry to what do you call it? To have lost you. Apparently my what do you call it? The power went out. The computer what do you call it? Shut off. I rebooted my computer. Everything is good, and
Good.
I hope you took a few minute break because
But Mikey and I were just talking.
there you
We
go.
were continuing the conversation. Um, so I don't remember. Oh, we were talking about the rabbinic school thing.
I have to tell you this because this is something you should know. That how do you like these dollar glasses? Uh,
Beautiful.
yeah, can we get a brighter orange? I don't think so. So you happen to be one of, I think, four people of contemporary singer-songwriters who realize, what you were exactly talking about earlier. The rabbis don't want the cantors to have a great voice, which means to have, the, you know, the possibility of expressing themselves in the highest way. And so, given the fact that synagogue budgets are cutting the cantor, they don't really see the value. Many of the people that I've been speaking to are actually going back to rabbinic school to become rabbis, to bring the power of music into their lives in a huge way. And you're like one of four people who are in their, like 30s or starting to come out into the world and want to build communities that speak to people through the heart, through music, through passion.
Yep.
And so all I got to say is, go Bry, go Bryan, go Bry. Because I believe the cantorate, okay? Like I've spoken to the heads of all the cantorial schools.
Yeah.
And I've spoken to older cantors who are running the schools and people in placement. And they said, we should forego all of the allegiance to the particular denominational seminaries. And cantors should find their own certification as spiritual heads of communities, not second tier, to give them the power they need
Right.
to transform those communities. So the fact that you got there before the other cantors have got there, kol hakavod, man.
Well, thank you. It's been a hard decision because the cantor, it's all I've known in my life and all I really wanted to do. But this has been, and believe me, I get why I didn't get in. I didn't blame them. I mean,
Oh,
but
you'll get in somewhere because you're
well, I'm reapplying to them, and I'll get in there, and I really believe that I will. Because as I told you, I never said the word God once in my interview. How is that possible? Like, I don't know how everything that I'm saying to you is exactly true, but I didn't say any of that. I was too busy focused. I couldn't. They said I wasn't deep.
oh, well. Show them a
And-
picture. Show them the interview. Show them our interview if you really want to hear where your heart goes.
But that's where I had to really sit and do some major self-evaluation. Why did I do that? Why wasn't so? Everybody has, and maybe I needed this year to figure a lot of different things out about. Maybe we needed that time. Maybe it was moving too fast. Maybe there were all these things, and God has a plan for us, and whatever that plan is, it'll work out the way that it will. And the difference between being 31 and 32 really isn't too big of a difference. And I got to do better things here at my synagogue, and it's good. And I'm getting to learn more, and I'm doing more in-depth studying and learn and have another year with Rabbi Rines to figure out that stuff. So, hey,
It's all good.
I'm not going to sit here and be bitter. What good does that do?
No.
Right?
And by the way, between you and me, you're a force to be reckoned with. Even if I know you want to go there, but you won't stop until you will become a rabbi. So it will happen.
Thank you.
And by the way, we need you. Anyone who could talk about, what it feels like bringing people to a space and to feeling, what it's like reaching beyond themselves. You're definitely destined for the rabbin or for whatever spirit you want to do. And so, but it's hard, man. When I was your age, I was still, I think, doing what people expected of me. I hear an original voice coming from you. I really do. And I hear tremendous passion and commitment to Judaism and to what it offers the world. And that what else do the Jewish people need? It's like,
Well, apparently it wasn't It wasn't right then, but it will be.
It will be. It will be.
So it's all good things. But as I said, I believe in all this stuff. I really do. And the work that we're doing musically and within communities, or traveling or not, and it's a blessing. I mean, it really is. It's a blessing. We are lucky to be able to influence people. Not that working at Starbucks is not a great job, because it is. Not that working as a lawyer isn't a great job, because it is. But, it's actually really interesting. I started a group here, called Bible and Beers.
Oh, that's interesting.
So
tell me about that.
So I have about 25 to 30 guys every single week or month, once a month. We meet up at a bar and go into the back room, and we hang out and have happy hour and have about a 15-20-minute discussion. Last night's discussion happened to take about 45 minutes. So that means it was a good discussion.
Huh.
And we discussed performance-enhancing drugs. And
wow.
The whole Ryan Braun thing. And then tied it into Judaism, talking about, when is it permissible to lie? And there's really only one time that it's permissible to lie, and that's to save a life. And there are only 3 ways, so it was a very interesting conversation to hear people talking about something secular. A guy like Ryan Braun, and what kept going back to is being a Dugma Ishit. It's being a role model. Being a role model. These people, and they're saying, and I posed the question, for $15 million a year, would you take performance-enhancing drugs to make yourself better? Most of them said no. A couple of people said yes. I said, would you give up your reputation for it? And they said, and a lot of them just, and the point I came back to was, when you represent something, whether you're wearing Yankee pinstripes, Dodger blue, or Temple Sinai on your badge, you're representing something, a brand. You're a role model. Whether you like it or not, you have no business cheating, lying, and whatnot. And so it goes all back to the genuine thing, being genuine.
True to oneself.
Right. And it was a great conversation we had all about it. And they kind of stopped and think about that. And most of them agreed. A couple people still said, well, for $15 million, I don't care who I am. I'm like, all right, well, go ahead.
Sell your soul to the devil, right?
That's exactly right. So it's very interesting. And these are all, these types of programs, this is what I really love doing. I'm putting together a...
That's great, by the way.
Yeah, and I have a group where teens are getting together. I'm getting 15 teens at a time to come together for Torah study once every week or 2.
Wow.
Study the Parsha of the week. How does it relate to your life?
Really? Tell me about that. Well, tell me what you've talked about and how you... What are they interested in talking about? Did they talk to you about like sex, drugs, and rock and roll and all that stuff?
Sometimes. We talk about it. We talk about a wide variety of things. That it could be 2 or 3 words in a parsha, and then it just develops into a conversation. Really, what would you do in these types of situations? With my B'nai Mitzvah students, the same thing. That's what I talk about with them. It does them no good to come into my office and learn these prayers to go get up on the bimah for 1.5 hours and then never come back here again. I'm not training them to become B'nai Mitzvah. I'm training them to become Jews.
Yes.
And that's important. That's where, from 1980 to present day, I think we have done a really poor job of doing that.
Yes.
Because people choose other things over Judaism. And that's okay. But like really choose other things, and they don't continue through confirmation, and Judaism isn't important enough. They've broken that chain. That breaks my heart. It breaks my heart. And really, throughout the course of, however long, that 30-year span, I think rabbis have done a good job at keeping people, but people need that connection. We are a secular lifestyle in America. We need music. We need music. Debbie Friedman was revolutionary because she was not only great, but she was in the right place at the right time, doing the right things. People needed it. Craig Taubman, back in his early days, was nothing but an entertainer. Worked for Disney, did all of his things. Dude is spiritual beyond belief. And he translated that. Now, say what you will about Friday Night Live. Yeah, it's a meat market. It's all those types of 2,000 young professionals coming to pray and to meet other people.
Yeah.
Like, dude, man, you did something right.
Yes.
Now he has unlimited resources to do so, and great, but that it doesn't matter. They're still there.
Yeah.
They're still there, and that is amazing. Dan Nichols is so genuine. He'll remember your face. He'll remember your name. He's incredible. Rick Reck does the same exact thing. I've never heard Rick Reck say I'm an entertainer. Rick Reck says I'm a song leader and I'm a teacher. This is what we need. This is what brings people back. It's the hook and bait.
And it's the sustenance also. Once you're in, it's what feeds you.
Right. Why do you think kids jump around at NIFTY events and BBYO? Why do you think people love going to camp? Because it's bigger than you. And no word that a rabbi is going to say in a sermon, I mean, it could be inspirational and it could be there, but a sermon lasts for an hour or 40 minutes or 30 minutes or 20 minutes. Doesn't last. It's not continuous because the next week the message is going to change, right? And so I already know what my rabbinate would look like.
Oh, that's interesting. Tell me about that.
Well, I would be very, very. I'm very fortunate to have worked this job and to have been here for as long. Now I've served 2 congregations after college and been able to do the same exact thing in both congregations. Music will be a huge part of my rabbinate. I would want for it to be community based with a liturgical and textual twist. I want people to become connected to us. I don't want people to come and pray mincha because we're obligated to. It's because they want to. And we're not going to do it if they're not asking for it. It's that simple. It's what they're asking for. We don't do this out of obligation. And that's what I believe. I don't do this because God commands that we pray 3 times a day. I do it because I want to. I do it because this is what, and if people see that in me, people want to follow the leader.
The connection.
You ever see the movie The American President?
Oh, I love that one.
One of my favorite movies of all time.
Michael Douglas and I forgot the woman.
Annette Bening and
yes.
Michael J. Fox. And when Michael J. Fox went in to his office when they were having some problems and said, people will crawl through the desert, and if you tell them the sand's water, they'll drink the sand. What does that mean? People just want a leader. They want to follow. They want to believe in something. You just have to give them the ability, which is exactly the reason that these Jewish musicians who are traveling around and doing what they're doing are the most priceless people on the planet. And it's why I choose to have this in my life, too. But But the Rabbinate will be the perfect platform. We talked about platforms. It is the perfect platform to spread and create relationships with God. That's it. It's primarily that simple. And I'll tell you what, during my rabbinic school interview, I didn't say that once. Not once. So this is actually really good practice for me, so thank you.
Hey, I'm there for you if you want to do it again.
Hey man, anytime. I'm always up for it. You're a good person to talk to. How come I've never met you?
Well, that's because I left the cantorate.
Yeah.
You know, when you're only in, I've done 3 or 4 jobs over 30 years, and you tend to be very monolithic, thinking that your synagogue is the only thing that exists in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So a friend of mine invited me into a new paradigm of religious school called the Hebrew Wizards, and I've been, for the past 2 years, deepening it and bringing it out to the world. It's this great blend of summer camp wrapped in spiritual music, and students become teachers, actually creating a very intimate learning community. And this model is now, this year, in 6 new pilot programs around the country, in LA, Boston, New York, Savannah, Houston, and the other part has been these interviews, and in these interviews, I have widened the conversation.
Cool.
I've started to go out and say to myself, the cantorate is dying. And I'm pissed at the cantorate because, people have, particularly the people that I've spoken to, there isn't this greater sense of what you're talking about to contribute to something greater than yourself. Now, I know that cantors individually do amazing work in their communities, much as you described your relationships with your community. Very, very similar. But the way you described it was beautifully, uniquely yours, and I'm indebted to you about that. The difference is they have yet to experience their own power as a profession. And I see my task. I'm 57 years old. I'm not going to watch the cantorate die in 20 years. I want to be as passionate or even more so than you in continuing that link.
It's great.
And so my sensibility is, in having over 60 conversations with cantors from around the country, is let's not be the recipients of what other people see that of our power as cantors. Like we're passively watching other people dictate what the cantorate's to become. Let's create a powerful cantorate.
Right.
Because collectively, and I include you in this, the people that open hearts and souls through music, through passion, through prayer, are the salvation, I believe, of where we need to be to imagine new things. The heart is broken open by music, and with good rabbinical, as you said, the platform to direct us forward into, living noble lives and creating from a place of, openness and generosity and love and nurturing. Those spiritual communities that we want to create are needed. And so I'm not watching the cantorate go down, and I am all about hearing the voices. And as you mentioned, which is so beautiful, you said that in this group with my teens, I'll start with 3 words and then we'll talk. And the reason why that's powerful, because I believe so similarly, one can come in and say, this is what the following 16 rabbis believed about the Parsha of the week. And it becomes, sort of, this is what we need to be taking in. This is really the important stuff. And you're beginning, like I am, from the place of these conversations with living Jews. What does that mean for you? What is your wisdom about it? How do you feel about it? Where can we take it? You're having a living conversation with people living the words of Torah in their mouths through their lenses.
Living Judaism. Living Judaism. It's so important to make sure that it continues to live. It continues to live. That is so powerful.
Well, you do it. I mean, it's great that you can actually walk into a group of people and go, "What do you think?" You're actually interested in what's inside of them.
They teach me. Just because I'm where I'm at doesn't mean I don't have the ability to learn anymore. Believe me, we are not the end-all, be-all. As I said, I hate it. really hate it, and I'll use that word hate, it's a strong word, but I hate when rabbis and cantors get up in front of a community and they say, I'm the rabbi or cantor, hear me roar, listen to me, I know more than you. Who the hell do you think you are?
Exactly, bro.
And that just really bothers me. They do know, they have a great background, but our jobs are to teach, but teaching involves learning, not telling. And, you know,
Well, you know, so you say, so you know, like I don't want to put words in your mouth, but in with your use of the word learning, are we saying listening?
Yeah, listening too. I think that's true.
You know, yeah. I mean, I find that, like, for example, these interviews that I'm hoping to share on this site to create like a fresh current of ideas within Judaism, a new conversation, is all about people showing up exactly where they are, you know, and learning from each other. Learning, just expanding the mind a little bit, expanding the heart. You know, hey, tell me what you mean. You're an emotional guy like me. Tell me what your perspectives are. I mean, I don't know how much time you have because Mikey's probably let's be jamming or doing something.
A few more minutes.
All right.
More minutes.
Maybe this is.
I'm enjoying this, man. It's like I get to read my book here and get to listen, and I'm on cloud nine. You guys keep going.
All right. Well, I appreciate, Bryan. I really appreciate your time, and thanks, Mikey. Thank you.
Hey, anytime, man. Anytime you need me to sit in and shadow, I'm cool.
I love it. Well, you know, it's funny. I have to tell you, you know, it has been such a gratifying piece for me personally. I know I'm getting away from the subject before I get into the subject. I showed up at the New Cage Educational Conference in Boston, and I had conversations with two of the people who, believe it or not, were on a big screen talking and singing to a group of 400 Jewish educators.
I did that last year. It was awesome.
That is so. You did it last year?
I was on the screen last year. It was really cool.
That is, and like.
Yeah, I couldn't come this year either.
Cool.
But you know, this whole idea that I actually knew the people that were up there. Julie Silver and Josh Nelson and I had conversations the week before. And so you know, I've been meeting and being filled by people like you, by them. And so I guess the question, speaking from that place of being filled, was my heart is fuller because I am doing the stuff that I was meant to do. Like, you know, that soul searching piece. This is who I am. This is what I love to do. This is what I believe is important. And so, you know, I've noticed a Judaism that has pretty much been operating mostly from the head. You know, it's an intellectual pursuit. It's, you know, lifelong learning. And, you know, and it does become a download of clergy to the congregation of, you know, what they should be thinking, where the sources are, as opposed to, you know, the knowledge of the heart, the intuition, you know, the you know, the part of us that goes to those places that we know instinctively by how we feel, whether something is right or wrong, not intellectually. You know, love. The description of love, you know, the words fail us, but our heart knows. You know what I'm saying? And so what I see as a movement in the greater culture, in the world even, is a rebalancing of sort of taking the last hundreds and hundreds of years of Western thought and moving towards a balance to where the heart can now enter the conversation in a bigger way. What are your thoughts on that, if any?
Well, you're right. I don't think it comes from here. I think it comes from here. You know, and man.
I mean,
sorry.
Yeah.
I think it comes from here, and I think I don't even know what I think. I mean, it's a very interesting you know, I don't want to worry about anyone else. I mean, I don't want to worry about what rabbis do or what cantors do. I can only do what I do.
Yes.
And hopefully people will respect that. I do believe that one person can enhance a place. I believe that.
Yes.
I believe that one incredible person can enhance a place, and removing that person, the place won't die, but it certainly won't be the same. And that's the case with the choir, that if one person isn't there, it changes the choir.
Yes. Yes.
And, if we're looking at Judaism as a whole, it's just presence and ego. It's the two biggest problems of Judaism. Presence and ego. People, and it's really interesting because the HUC application says, what do you think is an issue in Reform Judaism that you'd like to see corrected? Well, now I'm walking on a very fine line. What am I supposed to say? The rabbis that you have ordained. you know what I... So...
Right.
But, that's what... but that's something that I think is so interesting. The ability to be completely present. People just undervalue it. Rabbis that are there to give sermons because the rabbi feels that everybody deserves to hear what I have to say. Or the cantor is singing this piece because everybody deserves to hear him or her sing that melody beautifully. You just missed the train completely. Completely. It's not our job to tell them what they should or should not be doing. I mean, if you're talking halachically, then there's something, that we can say, well, that's why I would never say to a congregant, you should do this, or you should do that. It's, well, our rabbi said, or the Torah states, or, here's a midrash by so-and-so. Give the people, and so, Mikey and I were talking about denominations. And, for me, I'm a Reformed Jew, through and through. I'm not a conservative Jew, and I'm not an Orthodox Jew. I truly believe in developing your Judaism to your life. That halakha is just a foundation, it's basic principles, but you can adapt it to make it what you want to. I mean, that is Reformed Judaism right there as a whole. I don't believe there is a physical man or woman going to walk over Mount Olives and come and be the Messiah.
Right.
I just don't, there's no way in my mind that is going to happen. But I do believe very strongly that in this world, that peace is going to come. Justice is going to come. It's going to be there. And it's a belief. It's a belief that there is a messianic age. It's out there. And it's going to come at some point in our lives. And it may not be in my life. I pray to God it is. But it may not be. And that's okay. But it's how do we create our relationship to these ideas? And that's not for me to tell anybody. It's for me to help people realize what it is for them. And one answer is not going to be different from the other, from the other, from the other. So that's why that question on the HUC application is a trap. It's a horrible question to ask. Because I'm not going there to try to change Reform Judaism. I'm going there for myself. I'm going there to try to make me spiritually enhanced and educationally enhanced. And if I have those tools, hopefully other people will be able to provide that direction. Or would want to gain that direction. So, and I really believe in that.
That's so beautifully said. And I totally agree with you. Yeah. You can't. It's interesting from the school's point of view. They're trying to cultivate allegiance to this denomination, and so. unfortunately, the way that they're doing it is a little heavy-handed, and so why would one want to participate? For all the reasons that you articulated, um, why you're in it, and the change you're going to make. It's beyond the one denomination. It's beyond the reform movement. But I think it becomes self-serving in their eyes when they. And it
may be true, but maybe I have my answer. Maybe I do have my answer to that question. This is why I need it this year. I mean, these are the exact reasons for stuff like this. To think of this. And you know what? Maybe my answer has nothing to do with ego and presence. Maybe my answer is, well, the thing that I would change is how I personally approach my rabbining. You know what I mean? That's it.
Yeah.
Maybe it's and other rabbis do stand, or cantors stand up there and make it about themselves. Whereas that may work, that's not how I would approach things.
Yeah.
Not that their way is wrong, but that's just not how I would. And that's the exact answer. And I should be writing that down. Hold on one second.
What I just found out?
What did you just find out?
And it's a mitzvah to pay your worker on the same day the work is done.
Yeah. Written in the Torah.
Great. I'm going to use that on my contract for camps.
I love it.
It's a mitzvah.
It's a mitzvah.
Remind Jews of the Jewish way of operating. I love it.
It says when you hold back your daily wages, it is as though you have taken part of someone's soul.
Yeah.
Mamish Kabbalah.
Hold on.
I used to remind my father that every time I mowed the lawn.
It took my salt pots.
Here you go.
Then it was a catch-22, huh?
I caught half of what you said. Half got garbled.
And then you remember the other commandment to honor your mother and father.
That's right, exactly.
And you lost yourself.
And then my father would say to me, one of his bad jokes, children should be seen and not heard.
Yeah.
And which was half true, probably half funny. But I'm so glad that enabled you to find that discovery. And by the way, it's interesting for me. I've been on this journey, and it took me 4 months, at least 4 months, 5 months, to find the language about beginning this conversation, to have these interviews.
Right. I'm sure this isn't easy, and everybody else, and I admire you for doing it. I think it's a very cool thing. I mean, we all have different directions and different paths and different ideas, and I'd be very curious to see when it all comes together. It's going to be a really fascinating thing.
Well, I haven't stepped back long enough to see where it's going, but I promised myself I would do that. There's the reflection process that you were talking about.
Right.
And this is great, man. It's great to know you.
Yeah, you too. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And, Melissa and I come to LA. Melissa's my wife. We come to LA a lot. I mean, so I'd love to get together, have some coffee or lunch or something, and, it'd be nice to get together. It's a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed speaking with you.
I would love to get together with you. This has been an honor getting to know you. And to hearing your thoughts, and I would love to continue at some point. I would love to hear about the music making process, but maybe wait a little while to before.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know if you're on Facebook or whatnot, but my band has a page on Facebook, so it shows what we're doing and videos and some music on there. You may have seen my website, bryanzive.com, and all that. So at least you'll see you'll see kind of what things are doing. I'd love to record again. I just unfortunately don't have the money to do so at the moment.
Yeah.
And the synagogue here is in the middle of a capital campaign, so I can't really ask anybody for money because of conflict, politics. It's a mess. So everything's a little bit on hold for now. But eventually down the line, things will. This part of me is never going to die.
But more importantly, it's been an honor to feel like between you and Mikey, like, that we are, caring about the Jewish soul, and to the work that you're doing and to the work that he's doing,
through the people that we meet, whether it's in congregations, whether it's my congregants here, whether it's community-wide, nationwide, I've developed one very firm belief, or two, actually, I should say. Actually, you know what? I'm going to even go with three, the trifecta.
Oh, really?
Here's the three things that I am very strong in my understanding. Number one, there certainly is a God. Number two, music is one of the most powerful ways to help people connect to their identity. And number three, in knowing these people and our kids, I am so confident in our future.
Oh, that's great.
I am confident in Judaism's future. I believe it's there.
Well, that makes me feel good knowing that, as my tenure slowly winds down, yours accelerates into possibility. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure. All right, I have to get going. But Cantor, Ken, thank you. What a great time.
Thank you, man. Ken is good, and it's been an honor. Give Mikey a big hug out for me, will you?
You got it, man. Be in touch, okay?
I will.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.